today is urging America to wake up. With us now, my friend, Commissioner Bernie Kerik. Not once. What do you make of that?
Honestly, it's shocking. You know, in a post-9/11 world, that should be first and foremost on everybody's mind. You know, we have learned, if we learned anything from 9/11, it's that radical Islam is at war with us. We should be fighting that war back. I would think that the State of the Union by the Speaker would be her principal agenda, or her primary agenda, for terrorism, national security not to be mentioned or not to be an issue. It's concerning. And I got to say, Neil, honestly, I can't think that's the gist of the Democratic Party. I'd find it hard to believe that her party is following the same suit.
But maybe they're just reading polls that say that they got elected not really centering on terror, focusing on the war and its problems, and moving to things that she thinks are more topical 5 years after the fact. Even Americans, Bernie,
yeah, well,
when they're polled on
honestly,
this, terror wasn't on the top of the list.
If that's the case, that's a problem as well.
You're absolutely right.
And the problem is, stop putting politics into, you know, stop placing politics before our national security. You know, we didn't learn after the Cole. We didn't learn after Kenya and Tanzania. We didn't learn after the first bombing of the World Trade Center. But after the second bombing of the World Trade Center, the attacks on 9/11, if we didn't learn then that we have a major problem, and this problem is for years to come if we don't deal with it, I think is damaging for us, because we're only going to get hit again. And if national security isn't in the forefront, isn't on their agenda, that's a problem.
I remember, you say so many interesting things, Bernie, but one of the best I remember, a little bit more than 2 years after the attacks, is that the more time that goes on, the more you fear that we forget. In other words, the greater the period post the attacks, when we don't have follow-up attacks, at least here, the more dangerous. What do you mean?
Well, it underscores what I've said for at least the last 2 years, maybe 3. The further we get away from September 11th, the more people will forget about it. They'll put it behind them. They'll want to ignore it. You know, and this is, if nothing else, is a clear demonstration that that's the case. And I hope it's not the parties. I hope it was a mistake. I hope that it was an error on her part, her staff's part.
Maybe it's just all politics, though, and that Democrats see this as a Republican issue. To talk about it much is to hand an advantage to the opposition.
You know what, Neil? I won't even go there. Get the politics out of this. The bottom line is, these people are at war with us. If we do not fight that war, we lose. I don't care if you're a Republican, if you're a Democrat, if you're an independent. I could care less. The bottom line is, I don't want to see another September 11th in this country, and it's going to happen if we don't do something about it. And for her agenda not to include terrorism, national security, whatever, that's a concern for me, and it should be for the rest of the country.
What do you make of the fact that the Democrats do want to enact all of the 9/11 Commission recommendations, and then when it comes to terror, that is where they're focusing their efforts? All of them, every single one.
Well, you know, I think we would have heard that in the speech.
So you're troubled that they're saying stuff but not doing anything?
Well, you know, we haven't seen yet. You know, they're new in their new positions. And I would hope, I would really hope that this was a mistake today.
Let's get a sense of the president now.